London transformed from a crowded Tudor city into the largest metropolis the world had ever seen and the beating heart of the British Empire. Its explosive growth from 200,000 souls to over 6.5 million represents an urban transformation in human history. Today, AI technology allows us to recreate these lost streets from historic paintings and photographs. Subscribe to the channel as we step into the London our ancestors once knew. In 1600, London was already England's dominant city, home to about 200,000 people. The medieval city of London, barely 1 square mile within ancient Roman walls, formed the commercial heart. London Bridge, crowded with houses and shops, provided the only Thames crossing. Westminster lay to the west, still separate from the city. This was Shakespeare's London, a city of timber and thatch where houses leaned over narrow streets and open sewers ran down the middle. The Globe Theatre stood on Bankside alongside bear-baiting pits and brothels. Despite filth and overcrowding, London buzzed with commercial energy. The Royal Exchange, opened in 1571, gave merchants a covered trading space. The Thames was crowded with vessels unloading goods from across the known world. The 17th century brought catastrophe and rebirth. The English Civil War disrupted trade and brought armies to London's gates, though the city sided with Parliament against Charles III. After the Restoration in 1660, London resumed its explosive growth. Then disaster struck. In September 1665, bubonic plague swept through London, killing perhaps 100,000 people, a quarter of the population. Bodies piled in the streets, those who could fled to the countryside. Before London recovered from plague, fire struck. On September 2, 1666, a fire began in a bakery on Pudding Lane. Driven by strong winds through timber buildings packed close together, the Great Fire raged for 4 days. It consumed 13,200 houses, 87 churches, and St. Paul's Cathedral. The medieval city of London burned to ashes. Miraculously, only 6 deaths were recorded, though the true toll was likely higher. The Great Fire proved transformative. Christopher Wren was commissioned to rebuild St. Paul's Cathedral and over 50 city churches. His masterpiece cathedral, with its massive dome, took 35 years to complete, finished in 1711. The city was rebuilt in brick and stone rather than timber. Streets remained medieval and crooked. Grand plans for wide boulevards were rejected, but the new buildings were safer and more permanent. The 18th century saw London explode westward. Aristocratic estates were developed into elegant Georgian squares and terraces. Bloomsbury, Mayfair, and Marylebone rose as fashionable residential districts. The West End became the domain of wealth and fashion, while the East End remained industrial and poor. This East-West divide would define London for centuries. London's financial sector came to dominate global commerce. The Bank of England, founded in 1694, became the world's most powerful financial institution. The stock exchange formalized trading. Insurance companies, particularly Lloyd's of London, underwrote commercial ventures worldwide. By 1750, London had displaced Amsterdam as Europe's financial capital. The Thames witnessed constant expansion. New bridges were built. Westminster Bridge in 1750 broke London Bridge's monopoly. The riverside became increasingly industrial. Dockyards expanded downstream. The West India Docks opened in 1802, followed by the London Docks and St. Catherine Docks. These massive enclosed docks could handle the exploding volume of imperial trade. Georgian London became a city of contrasts. In the West End, the wealthy promenaded in pleasure gardens like Vauxhall and Ranelagh. Coffee houses became centres of commerce and discussion. The British Museum opened in 1759. Yet poverty was endemic. Gin consumption reached epidemic levels in the 1720s-1740s. Crime was rampant. Public hangings at Tyburn attracted massive crowds. The city maintained a brutal edge beneath its Georgian elegance. The population grew relentlessly, approaching 1 million by 1800. London was becoming something unprecedented, a megacity. The surrounding villages of Islington, Paddington and Camberwell were absorbed into the urban sprawl. London's growth seemed unstoppable and unmanageable. The 19th century brought the Victorian transformation. The Industrial Revolution, though centred in northern England, dramatically affected London. Railways arrived in the 1830s, 1840s. Massive termini, Euston, Paddington, King's Cross, St Pancras, were built, each serving a different region. The railways made London accessible to all Britain, accelerating its dominance. The Thames became London's shame. By the 1850s, the river was an open sewer. The hot summer of 1858 brought the Great Stink. The stench was so overpowering that Parliament hung curtains soaked in chloride of lime. This crisis finally forced action. Engineer Joseph Bazalgette designed London's modern sewer system, completed in the 1860s. His 1,100 miles of sewers and the Thames embankment transformed public health. Victorian London was the largest city humanity had ever created. The population reached 2.5 million by 1851, over 4 million by 1881, and 6.5 million by 1901. London was larger than the next dozen British cities combined. As capital of an empire spanning a quarter of the globe, London was the financial, commercial, and political centre of the world. The city became a study in extremes. In the West End, Regent Street and Piccadilly glittered with shops and theatres. Grand hotels and clubs lined Pall Mall. The wealthy lived in townhouses in Belgravia and Kensington. The Great Exhibition of 1851 in Hyde Park showcased British industrial supremacy to the world, housed in the magnificent Crystal Palace. But East London housed a different reality. Whitechapel, Bethnal Green and Shoreditch were slums of appalling squalor. Families crammed into single rooms in crumbling tenements. Cholera epidemics struck repeatedly. 1832, 1849, 1854, 1866, killing tens of thousands. Child mortality was staggering. Charles Dickens's novels captured this world of poverty, crime, and exploitation that existed blocks from the grandest wealth. The Victorian building boom transformed London's skyline. The Houses of Parliament, rebuilt after an 1834 fire, rose in Gothic revival splendour, completed in 1870 with the iconic Big Ben Tower. Tower Bridge was completed in 1894, its bascules lifting to allow tall ships passage. The Albert Memorial, the Royal Albert Hall, and countless churches, museums and civic buildings proclaimed Victorian confidence. The Underground Railway, opened in 1863, was the world's first underground railway system. By 1900, multiple lines crossed London, allowing millions to commute from suburbs to workplaces. The Underground enabled London's continued sprawl. Workers could live miles from their jobs. London became home to people from across the empire and beyond. Irish immigrants fled famine. Jewish refugees escaped European pogroms, particularly settling in the East End. Indians, Africans and Caribbeans came as sailors, servants and students. Victorian London was far more diverse than most realise, though racism and xenophobia were pervasive. The docks reached their peak. The Royal Docks, opened in stages from 1855-1921, were the largest in the world. Ships from every corner of the empire unloaded tea from India, wool from Australia, grain from Canada, rubber from Malaya. London's merchants controlled global trade networks. The city remained the world's financial capital, more powerful even than the government in many ways. Labour movements grew as workers organised against exploitation. The 1889 London dock strike brought the docks to a standstill, winning significant concessions. Trade unions gained strength. Socialist movements found support in East London. The contrast between wealth and poverty became increasingly difficult to ignore or justify. By 1900, London stood as the greatest city on earth, the capital of the largest empire in history, home to over 6 million people, the world's financial centre, a city of unparalleled wealth and grinding poverty existing side by side. The city had grown from 200,000 to 6.5 million in 3 centuries, an expansion unprecedented in human history. If you liked today's video, leave a comment below and make sure to subscribe to our channel.